structs, methods, and composition. Go does not have classes like Java or Python. Instead, it uses structs to hold data and methods to add behavior. This approach is simpler and more explicit. In this video, you will learn how to define structs, attach methods to them, use pointer receivers, create constructor functions, and compose types with embedding. A struct groups related fields together into a single type. You create structs with curly braces, using field names for clarity. Access fields with dot notation. You can also update fields the same way. Structs are the building blocks of all Go programs, from web servers to command line tools. If you declare a struct without setting any fields, every field gets its zero value. Strings become empty, integers become zero, booleans become false. This means every struct in Go is always in a valid state right from the start. There are no null or undefined fields like in some other languages. You can create anonymous structs without defining a name type. This is useful for one-time use cases like temporary data or test fixtures. Just define the struct inline with its fields and values. Anonymous structs keep your code clean when you do not need to reuse the type elsewhere. A method is a function with a receiver that connects it to a type. The receiver appears before the method name in parentheses. Go convention is to use a short name, usually 1 or 2 letters, based on the type name. This is similar to self in Python or this in Java, but you choose the name yourself. There are 2 kinds of receivers, value receivers and pointer receivers. A value receiver gets a copy of the struct, so it cannot modify the original. A pointer receiver gets a reference to the original struct, so changes are reflected outside the method. This distinction is critical for understanding Go. Here is a counterexample that shows both receiver types. The current method uses a value receiver because it only reads data. The increment and reset methods use pointer receivers because they modify the struct. If you used a value receiver for increment, the counter would never actually change. The modification would be lost. When should you use which receiver? Use a pointer receiver when the method needs to modify the struct or when the struct is large. Use a value receiver when the method only reads data and the struct is small. Most importantly, be consistent. If one method on a type uses a pointer receiver, all methods on that type should use pointer receivers. Go does not have constructors. Instead, you write a factory function that returns a new instance. By convention, the name starts with new, like new user or new config. These functions typically return a pointer to avoid copying the struct. Inside, you set default values and validate the input. Go does not have inheritance. Instead, it uses composition through struct embedding. You embed one struct inside another by writing the type name without a field name. All fields and methods of the embedded struct are promoted to the outer struct. You can access them directly as if they belong to the outer type. Here is an employee struct that embeds an address struct. Because address is embedded, you can access city and street directly on the employee without going through the address field. The full address method is also promoted. This is composition, not inheritance. The employee has an address. It is not an address. You can embed multiple structs in a single type. A common pattern is creating small, reusable structs like timestamps and soft delete, then embedding them wherever needed. This keeps your code modular. Each embedded struct handles one concern, and you combine them to build richer types. Struct tags are metadata you attach to fields using backtick strings. They do not change how the struct works, but other packages can read them. The most common use is the JSON tag, which tells the JSON encoder what field names to use. You can also use a dash to skip a field entirely during serialization. Here is a complete example that combines structs, methods, and composition. We define a dimension struct with a width and height. A box type embeds dimensions and adds a depth field. The volume method uses the promoted area method from dimensions. A shelf holds multiple boxes and calculates total volume. The shelf uses pointer receivers for addbox and total volume because they modify or iterate over the slice. The new shelf constructor returns a pointer and initializes the box's slice with make. This layered approach of small types composed together is the Go way of building programs. The first common mistake is forgetting to use a pointer receiver when modifying a struct. If you use a value receiver for a method that changes a field, the change only affects the copy and is lost. Always use a pointer receiver when the method modifies the struct. The second mistake is comparing structs that contain slices or maps. Structs are only comparable if all their fields are comparable. Slices, maps, and functions are not comparable. If your struct contains a slice, you cannot use the equals operator. You must compare field by field or use a library like reflect.deepEqual. In the next video, you will learn about interfaces and polymorphism. Interfaces define behavior without specifying the implementation. Go uses implicit implementation, which means there is no implements keyword. If a type has the right methods, it automatically satisfies the interface. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more tutorials.